Hat Man, Shadow Man, Hag. The concept of Hat Man, Shadow Man, and the Hag, is the result of collective consciousness, working in the etheric realms, to produce thoughts, some of which would resemble people. These people, etheric forms, are often called Hat Man, Shadow Man, the Hag, and the Reptilian, in the English language. Reptilians will not be discussed here, as some of them are a special case, and have a greater connection to 3D realm than others, but are also to be found in the etheric realm, alongside Hat Man, etc. Now, Hat Man, Shadow Man, and the Hag, are thought forms, found in the etheric realm, the result of people's collective anxieties. People tend to see them when awakening from sleep as, at that moment, the ability to see into the etheric realm, is greater. One should also say that, as we advance into this so-called ascension movement, the veil between our 3D realm and the etheric is thinning, and some people are able to see into that realm and thus observe the creatures, thought forms, that are to be found in that realm. Being just thought forms, they have no reality, but thoughts are powerful things, and so, many of these creatures appear very solid and powerful. But, they are just illusion, and, if one can accept that fact, one can reduce their power and influence over us. They take the form that they do, because, being negative thought forms, created by people who are in an emotionally disturbed condition, they take the form that most clearly represents fear to most people. For instance, Hat Man. He appears as a tall, thin person, with a menacing attitude, and wearing a hat. Now, the symbolism is this. When we were children, we would be intimidated by tall, mean-looking, menacing people, clearly trying to overpower us. The concept of some school teachers comes to mind, or an unpleasant parent. The hat further enhances the concept of authority. Policemen wear hats. Army people wear hats. When there are ceremonial occasions, and high people parade showing their robes and symbols of authority, they usually have a hat of some sort. Thus, the hat is connected with power and dominance. Thus, the etheric thought form takes that shape. Years ago, it was customary for all people to demonstrate their social class by their head apparel. The working class wore cloth caps, business people wore bowlers, and the higher people wore top hats. These top hats gradually became taller and taller, as the Victorian era progressed, until people of high social status wore what is known as stovepipe hats. The Hag is similar, but the difference is, of course, that the Hag appears as a horrible female person, the opposite of any female that we would call beautiful. This concept comes, partly, from humans' desires to be good-looking, well-dressed, etc., and the fear of growing old and ugly, and, partly, from a general fear of life not turning out as they had hoped. People are scared of growing old, poor, lonely, and abandoned by all society. This fear creates the Hag form in the astral. Lastly, among the beings that we will discuss today, is Shadowman. This, quite simply, is the etheric representation of our fear of not marking a place in society. When we are young, it is normal to want to become someone who makes a lasting impression on life. But, for many, that dream is not fulfilled. Thus, they create, in the etheric realm, this wispy, insignificant being, that, nevertheless, appears angry and belligerent. This is the result of people's disappointment, of how their lives turned out. This is a brief overview of some of the creatures that live in the etheric.